Hello everyone, this is Nitin here. How you people are doing? I hope your watercolor is going great. So today I come with a new video which is of so much of important, especially for the beginner who want to create the tree. So tree is something I'm just hearing from a lot of beginners, and they find some sort of a problem. So their approach is different, and even after working many attempts, they're not getting the exact the way the tree should be. So before going ahead with this watercolor demo, I wanted to talk about the skill set where I have a few classes available. So if you don't know about the skill set, so Skillshare is the online learning community with 1,000 of classes in design, businesses, technology, and lot many more. So you can have an access of 1,000 of the classes in watercolor also. It's a really fun to have the Skillshare platform where you can learn from basics to in an advanced watercolor, and not only limited to the watercolor but 1,000 of other classes. So you can just improve your skills, unlock the new opportunities, and do the work you love. So you can have a premium membership on Skillshare that gives you an unlimited access to high quality classes from experts working on their fields. More affordable than most learning platform, what I believe, because it gives you an annual subscription less than $10, which is absolutely great, right? I've given the the link in my video description. Click on that and you can just go and check all of the classes available on Skillshare. So we'll go ahead with our demo. So I wanted to bring one very important aspect of learning watercolor is the sketch. The sketch is something which most of the time we just forget, and we just ignore them rather. So I would suggest you to spend some time on sketching. That will give you a clarity how the watercolor should you should approach. So in this example, I'm just I'm making a tree here. So the tree, the shape can be anything, like a tree. You don't need to be very much specific about it, but what I want to say is that how the sketches makes your ability to paint watercolor more effortlessly. So let's take this as an example. So this is my tree, okay, and now you just assume that you want to make a tree with a color. So how that color should reflect on the paper? So the first thing is that you need to have a basic understanding of the depth and the light, and that is very important in watercolor, right? So you can learn from the sketching itself. So let's this example. So this one, the bottom one, is basically the depth part, because that's the bottom of the the tree. So the leaf and the roots and the branches, everything will be a little harder, right? It works in this way, okay? Depth to light. This is how it is. Like once you look at the root of this, and like on the bottom part of this tree, this will be much harder. So it should reflect in your painting, in your study, right? So this would be a little dark, and this would be even more dark, right? And the moment you're going upside of this, the top part of this tree, that will become a lighter, right? So this is how actually the watercolor works, or not only watercolor but any form of art. And this is important. You need to learn this. You have to sketch like that way, okay? Or if you have if you're out, you can just see that how the tree looks like, and you can do that. You can just learn from them how the light should reflect, right? So this is how you should approach watercolor also. Okay, so this is the one. Now suppose if you have just behind this tree there is another tree which is a slightly far of distance, unlike my previous video, because that gives you another dimension. So your tonal value will be a slightly dark, a slightly lighter, right? So this is how the tonal value would be for the the behind tree. So the same thing, if there is a branch of the tree, this will be a slightly lighter, right? And the shadow goes, if suppose this light source of from this side, so this part will be a lighter and this should be a little darker here, right? Darker here, much darker at the bottom. And there are some other tree there behind that will be even a little darker, but not more than this, slightly lighter tint, and the shadow also, right? So this is how you should approach. You have to make a lot of sketches, something like this, right? So that gives you a lot of flexibility to understand this watercolor. Do not ignore this. Sketching is so important. Make a lot of sketch. Make a take a the water the sketching pad like this and make a lot of sketches as much as you can. And that's the first rule of watercolor, especially for the beginners. Alright, so now since we understood the sketching part, now let's head into making this tree in a watercolor. So what I'm going to do here is, first I'll just make a sketch. So let's say this is my tree, the form of a tree here and the branch. Okay, and I'm assuming that the source of light from this side. Okay, so now how this tree would look like. Now another one would be there is a one tree, maybe few more tree here, and in the background, and there are several other trees here even more far. Okay, so now let's look into this, how to approach this. So what I'm going to do is I'll just take the very light color. So I'm just using yellow ochre with a sap green, and I'm just applying here. So I wanted to keep this very light because since the exposure of the light, the sunlight, is much harder here. So this won't be too dark, right? Now the moment I'm going down, slowly my color will be slightly darker. Okay, so I'm just taking color and this brush, I'm just rubbing it this way. Okay, now I want to make this even more darker here because I'm going down and the leaf are becoming more harder here. So the color should be a little more dark here, since the source of light from this side, so there will be some depth this side. Some more depth. So I'm just taking this sepia, mixing with ultramarine blue, and here we go. This, and I want to make this even more dark here. And here and there, in some places, some depth because of the shadow of the leaf here and there. Okay. Now we have a few tree here, just slightly far from this tree. So now you look at your around and just see that what exactly you see in your landscape, in your area. If there is a near to your eyes, that object looks much brighter, and the moment you'll see the far behind tree, that picks very lighter. So the same process applies here. So these trees are slightly far, so I'm using very lighter color here. It means your color should be lighter, warm color, cool color, the mix of all of that. So currently I'm just using this very cool color because that tree is slightly far, but you also need to bring some value of greenness. So just add a little bit of green here and there. Okay, now the same process from here. When you're coming down, you need to have a little dark, but make sure that when you are giving your depth here, it should not conflict with this depth. It should be a still very subtle depth, should not conflict with this. So there is some more tree here. Little dark here, as I mentioned, and so at this point you need to take a lot of water, because you are dealing a very lighter side of this entire thing. Okay, now you need to give a ground, right? So whenever you're making a tree, just don't create tree, create the environment nearby, right? So that gives you the sense of composition, the composing your artwork, right? So this one is near, so this looks darker. I'm just using this sepia mixing with the green. And again. And now, so these guys are slightly, as I said, it's very far. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the lighter part. I'm just using a lot of water on my brush, and I'm using here. Okay. You should also learn leaving the white space here. That brings a different value in your work, right? It looks very interesting, right? So this is how it is. Okay, this is the very first layer, you got it. So now what you want to do is that you have two options, whether you want to let this first layer dry completely, and after that do a little bit of work. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm not waiting here. What I'm doing is I'm making a wet on wet kind of experience. So I have taken this depth color here and just making a little bit of some dramatic feel of the forest. Okay, people here around, so that gives the complete the picture of this painting. I'm just using this a couple of people just walking around. Yeah, and just try to give some bit of here and there some detail, some patches. So front there might be some objects. It's all about how you want to compose your artwork, because as I said, it's not just, don't limit with the just making one tree. Make the entire environment, right? And now just some bit of patch here again. It's dried, so this is the right time to add a little more depth or lighter here. Just sprinkle it. Do not afraid to use the depth, because depth is something it's really need in your painting. So I think we are pretty good. You have understood the basic of making a tree. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, then please go ahead and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to click on the bell icon. If you want to support the watercolor art to continue working on the YouTube, then please go and support me on Patreon. That will be a great help. So thank you so much everyone watching this video, and I will be coming with a new video very soon. Thank you so much.